What's the deal? It's Randall. Today we're back here at Mod FX, and I have another mod planned for my 2020 Widebody Dodge Charger. The mod of the day is going to be the Carven 5-inch exhaust tips that are going to fill in the gap in the rear diffuser and make it look a little bit better than it does. And so, like I said, I'm going to start with the exterior of this car with a lot of things that I'm going to be doing. Then I'm going to work my way inside with a few more modifications on that as well. And so I'm going to show y'all how the diffuser looks right now. I'll show you the tips, and then we'll get them on there. So y'all stay tuned. So as you can see, here are the stock exhaust tips. Sitting in the diffuser, you're gonna have a polished exhaust tip, and these look a little bit black, but they actually are stainless steel, polished stainless steel, and you can see all this dirt and build up in here as well. But as you can see, you have a gap on the left and right side where you need something else to fill that gap in. And so outside of putting a different diffuser on that sat tighter around that tip, the only way to really change it is going to be to replace them. And so the theme that I'm going with my whole car is going to be black and blue. In this case, the wheels are black, everything on the car is black and blue. The badges are going to be gone in a little while, but the exhaust tips are going to be the only thing that's going to have that polished finish. And so I'm going to address that by putting the carbon tips on. And so I'm going to get the car ready for the carbon tips to go on here by jacking it up, and then we'll go ahead and get everything in motion. So once again, like we did in the last video, I'm going to be jacking up the car. And so we have a standard floor jack, and we're going to be putting it on the car. We're going to be jacking the car up at the rear differential once again. So what this is going to do is going to get both sides of the vehicle all the way up, and it's going to allow us to access the factory exhaust tips and remove them. They do remove off the car without having to cut them off, and then we'll be able to install the new ones right back on, and then we'll be good to go. So one last close-up look of the stock tips. I believe we're high enough now to not have to worry about the impact gun hitting the floor. And so we're going to go ahead and go to the installation of these tips. Here are the Carven exhaust tips. They're made for the Dodge Chargers, and they're going to be a 5-inch tip. My favorite finish is going to be the black finish. So right now I'm unboxing them, and I'm going to show you what they look like fresh out the package. And so as you can see, it's going to be a nice satin black finish. You have the Carven logo etched on the tip, and then you have your mounting area where the factory hardware is going to go on, and it's going to attach it to that vehicle. And these have a 100-year warranty, so they are made out of stainless steel. They are made in the USA, and it's always good to support American companies that make products made in America. And so that's pretty much it. You get 2 tips. That's all you need. And then other than that, everything else is going to already be on your vehicle once you install it on. So I'm going to take both of these tips over there to the car, and then we'll get them on there here quickly. All right, so now we're up under the car. As you can see, under the exhaust tip, we're going to have a hardware, which is going to be all that needs to be removed in order to get these installed. Once we get that off, it's going to allow us to remove this factory tip. And so all I'm going to do is take my impact gun. I have my socket already on here. So as you can see, this is loose. And so you're going to need some kind of breaker bar in order to get the factory tip loose. If you try and do it by hand, it's not going to break away that easily. So here we have a breaker bar. I'm going to go ahead and put it in the tip, and I'm going to put some pressure down, and it's going to make our tip kind of break away, and we'll be able to remove it off. And so if you look at this exhaust tip in comparison to the factory one, you know, here we have the stock tip. It's a little dirty on the edges, but they both have that similar mounting pattern at the end. And then you know, like I say, this one you do have the Carven logo on here, which is a nice touch, and everything is black. And so the only part you're really going to see is probably this much on, but you know, details do matter. And so in my case, we're going forward. And so all I'm going to do is kind of position the exhaust tip back in the hole. And then once I get it straight, so right now I have it just sitting in there, and so what I'm going to do is tighten up the bolt, and then once I get it where the tip's not going to fall off, then I'll go ahead and readjust that tip and get it where it's sitting perfectly straight. And so all right, then we're good to go. So I'm gonna just check it one more time, make sure it's fully attached, got my tip straight, and so I'm gonna move on to tip number 2. If for some reason when you put everything down you feel like your tip is not straight, all you gotta do is loosen this bolt, readjust it, and then you'll be good to go. So there you have it. We have the Carven exhaust tips installed in the Dodge Charger 2020 Widebody Hellcat. As you can see, they're gonna fit the diffuser, fill it up a little bit better than it did from the factory. And now you have less of a gap around those exhaust tips, and gives some contrast and gets rid of that polished stainless steel on the OEM tips. And so I'm happy with it. And these are going to be a solid choice for your Dodge Charger if you choose to go the same route.